just can't say enough. But moving right along, I am privileged, and it is an extreme pleasure to introduce Yohance Maqubela. He's a human rights activist, community development advocate, and son of comedian and civil rights legend Dick Gregory. Moving right along.
Good afternoon. I guess it is noon now. I come to you standing on the shoulders of all of my ancestors. And in my tradition, I acknowledge them. So some of you may know my most recent ancestor, Dick Gregory. But for those of you who don't, I direct you to YouTube and just look up a couple of his speeches.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you'll understand the fire that I come with. Because see, Dick Gregory sacrificed everything. He sacrificed millions before he even made them. And then when he made them, he gave them up. He sacrificed fame as the first black comedian to break the color barrier. And willingly walked away to stand up and join his brothers, Dr. Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, and the names go on and on and on. Literally, when he passed, when he transitioned in August, he was still fighting to his dying breath. And so, by growing up at the footsteps of seeing somebody who was willing to do everything and give everything to make this world a better place, that's the spirit and the fire and the energy that I come with. So when I tell you that we are in a state of crisis right now, I need to make sure that we understand that. Look at our youth. Suicide amongst our young people at an all-time high. Depression, self-esteem. Look at this country. Sexism, sexual assault, racism, anti-immigrant. And I'm just talking about the president. See, I work with young people. And leadership is critical and vital in that it sets the tone and the direction. So how can we, as a nation, expect our young people to act and behave in a way when the leader of this nation has done every single thing you tell your child never to do, never to think? So if you understand that, if you have a child, if you have a grandchild, if you have a niece, a nephew, a cousin, somebody in your community you love, you then must understand we are in a state of crisis. Now, we've all experienced hardship. Maybe we were evicted. Maybe we went through a bad relationship and broke up. Maybe we couldn't pay a bill. Something where our community saw us in crisis. Maybe we were crying. Maybe we were fighting like hell. Maybe we were picking up the phone, calling everybody we knew to borrow that additional $100. So those around you know what you look like when you're in crisis. So if you're just sitting down now, sipping your coffee, eating a donut, looking at what others are doing, you are not responding appropriately to the crisis that we are in. And preparing for this march, somebody said, well, Yohance, there was just a women's march last week. Why are you guys coming out again? And to them I said, do you think discrimination takes a day off? Do you think racism takes a day off? Do you think right there, right over there in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, they're sitting there and say, you know what? We're going to discriminate against women in January, but we're going to give them the month of February off. Right? Do you even begin to think no, so why should we? Why would we even begin to think that we can take a day off? No, we're here to work. And let me be clear. This is the fun part. This is where you come to get energized. We're not doing the work today. We're preparing to do the work today. This is the pep rally for the work that we will do. Everybody, just look to your left, look to the person to your left, and look to the person to your right. If you leave here without knowing at least 5 other people that you didn't know before you came, we're not doing the right work. Because we need to go home, maintain those connections, and do work in our community. Brothers over here talking about political action. We need to run for office. But we're not just running for office just to run for office. We need to work in our youth centers. We need to work with our elderly. The civil rights movement wasn't about marching just to march. It was about making sure that everybody had a better quality of life. So invest ourselves in that. And one last thing before I leave you is very critical. We need to understand how to do this work. Just a couple of weeks ago, the president of this nation said some of the most vile, disgusting words ever to describe some of the most proud and mighty nations. Most notably, the first nation to liberate its people from the shackles of slavery, when this country didn't have the audacity to do it to over 6 decades later. And as vile and disgusting as his words were, I said, they weren't news. When Tom Brady throws a touchdown, that's not news, that's what he does. A racist says racist things. So the fact that we allowed that to dominate the news cycle, when at the same week it was revealed that since he's been in office, he has made over $35 million in secretive real estate deals. And at the last minute, he put a provision in the tax bill that benefited only real estate companies that operated at LLCs or S corporations. And not a word of print went out there. See, that's the real work, because that lets you know that that white male who may think he has more in Trump aligned with Trump, who's in the Appalachian Mountains or in the Ozarks in the Midwest, actually, he does not have his back. We have more in line with those on the front lines, the working class, the blue collar, whatever religion, race, stripe, color they may be. So our job is to go home, make sure we take our connections with us, and bring more people onto the fight. Let them know they are not your enemy, but your ally. Don't ever stop, don't ever give up, and never stop resisting. In remembrance of all those who lost their lives without receiving justice from police brutality, we ask to take a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yohance. We've only got a few more speakers, and then we're going to hit the road, gang. Yes! So, please welcome activist and University of Maryland student Dominique Lyon.